everyone. Welcome you all to webinar on COVID-19 pandemic impact and strategies for educational sector in India. The pandemic has significantly disturbed the higher education sector as well as which is critical determining the country's economic future. COVID-19 is impacted almost every sector in the economy, and the education sector is no exception. Schools, colleges, and institutes are closed even, and students are at home with the least contact with friends. All thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic over the world. Everything is virtual with no physical movement. Schools, universities, institutes, all levels are deferred and dropped examinations. The structure of learning, including teaching and assessment methodologies, was the first to the affected by these closures. Only a handful and adopt online teaching methods. The bigger concern, however, the everybody minds in the effect of the disease in the employment rate and education sector in the India. Recent graduates in the India are fearing withdrawal the jobs offer from the corporates because the current situation of the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting the education sector also. Students are not able to giving exams at the colleges. Everything is online. So today's we are discuss with our speakers about what is the impact and what is the future strategies for the education sector in India. Now I will take pleasure to introduce you our speakers. Professor Raghuram Akenepalli. Professor Raghuram Akenepalli is former Dean and Professor at Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Karthikeya University, Warangal. He is holding more than 32 years of teaching and research experience, including 5 years of postdoc and abroad teaching experience, 3 years in Germany, 2 years in United Kingdom, Arabia, and 5 years of teaching at Punjab University, Chandigarh. He is more than 85 research publications in various reputed international journals. He is gold medalist in MPharm from Andhra University in 1984. He also received various awards like Silver Jubilee Award in MPharm at Andhra University in 1984, Career Award for Young Teachers from All India Council for Technical Education AICT New Delhi in 1995. He also received Dr. Manjushree Pal Memorial Best Pharmaceutical Scientist Award in 2010, awarded by APTI Convention. He also received the Senior Fellowship DAAD in 2002 and 2005. He guided more than 21 PhD students and 45 MPharm students. His area of interest is anti-asthmatic agents, anti-cancer agents, aromatase, DHFR inhibitors, and ADEPT strategies, analytical profiles, and drug substances. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Operant Pharmacy Federation. Now I introduce our second speaker, Dr. V. Gopal. Dr. V. Gopal completed his B.Pharm in 1990 from Government College of Pharmacy, Bangalore, Karnataka, and M.Pharm from LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad, Gujarat in 1992, and he completed his PhD in 1996 from Gujarat University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Currently working as professor and head of Department of Pharmacognosy and principal of Government College of Pondicherry. He is also the in charge of School of Indian Systems of Medicines and in charge of Ayush Drug Testing Laboratory and academic registrar at Mother Teresa Postgraduate and Research Institute at Health and Sciences, Government of Pondicherry. Dr. Gopal having more than 28 years of teaching experience at all levels of pharmacy education, while D.Pharm, B.Pharm, M.Pharm, and MBA at Hospital Management. Dr. Gopal is Central Council member at Pharmacy Council of India and member of Educational Regulation Committee at the Ethics Committee of the PCI, also the member of All India Board of Pharmaceutical Education at the All India Council of Technical Education AICT New Delhi, expert committee member of AICT for approval of UG and PG courses in pharmacy. He is also the expert committee member of approval of process inspection of AICT, NBA and PCI scrutiny committee member of AICT, represented AICT and PCI in UGC inspections, published 120 papers in various international journals and presented 54 papers in different conferences and delivered 185 guest lectures in national and international conferences, workshops, seminars. Now I welcome you, sir, also in behalf of Operant Pharmacy Federation. Now I hand over the session to our today's speakers to continue the webinar on COVID-19 pandemic impact and strategies for educational sector in India. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vikram. Let me first, at the outset, thank your organization for inviting me to participate in this webinar. And I welcome Professor Gopal, my senior colleague.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and let's have a very important issue is currently taken up, because every one of us is worried about the current pandemic. In fact, although there is lockdown is to some extent, there are certain relaxations going on, but still the concern is very much there. Incidentally, after 2 months of my locking down at home, I just went out today, but people are so scary. Even I was traveling by a taxi, the driver is scary. The first thing he offered was a sanitizer. The moment I just opened the door, his first reaction was, first wash your hands, sir. So that sort of scare is there. Well, this is a global problem, and luckily for India, we are less affected to some extent, because if you compare the US and some European countries, the impact of pandemic in India is definitely much low. Of course, people say because of various reasons, we are having some sort of resistance power, immunity, innate as a characteristic property. Probably that and a genetic reason also may be responsible for showing less impact on Indian population. But still, we are seeing so many sad stories, so many incidences, so many families getting collapsed because of this very serious pandemic situation. Of course, this is not the first and this may not be the last also. We have never seen a globalized pandemic. We have seen so many other, at least in the last several decades, we have seen some sort of earthquakes, some sort of diseases, some sort of endemic infections and all that. But a generalized type of pandemic was never in our experience so far. Maybe in the early 1900s, that is, we had the some issues like that. Some dysentery was a problem. Earlier, plague was an issue. But they are all forgotten in a way. People felt its their impact, but that was not as generalized as that of this type of COVID, which affected every one of us either directly or indirectly. Well, every part of our society, every sector, take it the industry sector, take it commerce and business, take it manufacturing sector, every sector, no one, textile sector, every sector of our society is very badly affected. In fact, throughout the globe, there is a emergency situation. How do we come out of this particular problem? This is a serious issue going on. You open the newspaper, you hardly find any other news except that of COVID news. And probably this is another issue that the media largely responsible for sensitizing everyone. That is one important issue that made us, every one of us, yes, start working, take some precautions like this. Some sort of education is they are doing. How far? Sometimes some rumors and some sort of fake news also. You leave it aside. But generally, the media is very, very attentive about educating the public, and it is going on like this. Well, we being in the education sector, the worst affected or the first stopped, first thing that is locked in is schools and colleges. The schools and colleges have been almost at a closed position. All the teachers are at home, all students are at home, irrespective of their level, either in the kindergarten to postgraduate and research. All the research labs also closed because of the level of scare that we have. Everybody is scared. No laboratory, no guide, no PhD guide. Let's leave about any other. No PhD guide is dare enough to say that, well, no problem, you can come to my lab and let's work. Although in the lab, let's make some social distance, let's keep some social distance and do that. But nobody is trying that way because everybody is scared. Who will take the responsibility? Tomorrow, if something happens, can we take that? Are we ready to take up that sort of responsibility? It's very, very difficult. And that is the situation. Well, especially let's speak about the children at home. Children at home are the the worst affected. That is, they lost all their recreational opportunities. School is essentially a recreational avenue for children. From family, they go out and meet their contemporary age children. Contemporary age in the sense their problems are unique for themselves, and they discuss and they try to understand each other, and they try to develop out of that. They try to learn how to come out of these problems, and that sort of thing they certainly discuss and they learn from each other. And of course, as teachers, every teacher, they try to teach them how best they can come out of that. This entire thing has gone. Now now every child is at home, and to see them at home and to look at their problem, we really feel very much disturbed. That is, irrespective of the ages, they are all locked in, and there we have already, rather, we have taken out that their only mode of recreation, that is school. Well, attending a school is not only education; it is socialization. Socialization. That's all. That is, first of all, how they interact with other children, how they interact with the elders, how they interact with the staff, how they interact with the other parents, how they interact with other people. This sort of socialization is school is a temple of learning. And all these things, apart from education, a lot other social aspects are being taught, informally taught. It is not formally taught, but informally it is taught. If you take the kindergarten, they don't write anything, they don't read anything, but there is a lot of learning about how they behave in life, how they behave with others. That's what actually the education is. But thanks to COVID, the entire thing is totally locked in. Well, there are so many other impacts in this sense. Movements are totally restricted. Totally restricted, even your neighbor also, sometimes you are suspicious whether to go and meet. Neighbors, I mean neighbors, let's not speak about other family members. And social gatherings are totally cut off. That is, we don't have a small function also, and they have restricted. Then not only that, everybody says we let us restrict ourselves. So there are so many other issues also. For example, our own kith and kin, we are unable to meet them. We are unable to interact with them. So children, in that, not the elderly persons, but the children are losing this sort of thing. When we are speaking about education, impact of education, all these points are to be covered. Sports activities. all the stadia are closed, all these swimming pools are closed, all these training programs or sports activity is totally closed. There is no other recreation. You cannot go to even a cinema hall. All are closed. You have to watch only whatever the cinema that we get in a TV or maybe any other mode you want to see it. That sort of recreation is possible. Well, the entire country for the last 2.5 months period, it is almost in this situation in a some sort of I don't know what you call it. You may say we are in a tough situation, and the worst affected is the student community. Well, this is the issue. But the question is it really that bad? No. Definitely, there is some sort of blessing that we have. First of all, let me thank. I feel always thankful to the current generation and their approach towards the gadgets that they are using. And in current scenario, no child is missing their mobile. No child can miss a mobile in the sense that they don't even, every one of us, every child uses gadget much better way than we as elders we use it. And that means it is so easy and it has become their a toy, some sort of a toy. And that became a means of education today. That's why I thank the technology that is giving so much of promise today. And although we are facing so much of problem as such for educating children at any level, but these type of gadgets and these type of facilities that we have currently, certainly we have some sort of futuristic or I have a lot of optimism towards this. In fact, let me tell you, for all these 30 years, I have been teaching, but hardly I have taught anything online. Maybe I must have participated in some Skype meetings, maybe some Skype lectures I must have given to some distant audience whenever I was not able to reach them in time or something like that. Or that sort of rare things we have done it. But believe me, for the last 1.5 months, I am taking every day one lecture to my students. And the beauty is, the beauty is, the student is at home. That is, the student is at his convenient best, at his best convenient place. His family members are with him. He is at home, so safe. Number one. Number two, I'm taking a class. Every of his family members, sometimes they are showing me, all family members are watching my lecture. I never had that sort of experience in my life because at no time we expect a family member to sit in our classroom. You can't expect. But today it is happening. And there is an informal control on the children, whether what we are giving, what we are teaching, whether they are really at it, really attentive or not, right? In the school, in the classroom, okay, they are with their friends and they are enjoying that way, but in attention is the expected attention, we don't know, we can't get it. But right now, I teach some students, there will be about 30 students attending my lecture. Each word of my, whatever I'm speaking, I'm expressing, is directly reaching them. And for each one, everyone is responding. If I ask a question, 30 will ask in 30 different way. This is a wonderful experience. Personally, to me, I'm really very happy with that. In a way, this online teaching has given a wonderful experience to the teachers also, to everyone. And I, in fact, some parents contacted me like this when I was taking a class. After the class, I generally ask, how are you feeling? What are the questions? Are any problems, any doubts? And some parents also started asking me, sir, we are enjoying this some sort of thing, and some sort of comment or something. This is a wonderful experience to me. Well, this is an online channel which is highly personalized, something like what we call personalized medicine. That is not a general medicine, it's a personalized medicine. Almost in the same way, we have personalized education today. This is an opportunity we got it through this technology. A number of such online modes are available, which are giving us a wonderful opportunity to directly reach the student, and at the same time to individually send them some messages, send them some material, send them some sort of conveys so much of information with regard to whatever subject you want to tell. Right. This particular online availability made us very comfortable. Apart from other problems, in a way, my, uh, a student is currently having this sort of facility. Let me tell you one more aspect here. Each time I ask the students, which do you feel better? Every one of us was saying that both have advantages as well as disadvantages. But to give it a chance, I like this. That's what the students were saying. I asked my daughter. My daughter is preparing for her post-graduation for medicine. She completed recently her MBBS course. And she registered herself in a school where they are training them for the examination, NEET examination for post-graduation. Well, unfortunately, everything is locked in. She is also at home. She is locked in. But the institution has offered online education. And that is, she says, in fact, in a medical school, there will be 200 students in a classroom. It's an auditorium, right? And classroom teaching will be done by professors for 200 students. And to ask a question, people feel so scary because you imagine sitting in an auditorium and asking a question. It is a different situation, right? But when an online education is there, they are more comfortable to interact with the teacher. And more importantly, sometimes the audibility, sometimes the clarity of expression that a teacher is going to give is rather difficult to reach in such a situation. That's why she says the lockdown should be continued so that I will continue to have this sort of education. Well, that is also a very positive aspect as far as this type of online education is there. But as far as the examinations and some issues are concerned, there may be some loopholes, there may be some issues. Of course, there are two important issues I feel. One is educating or teaching them practical skills. Yes, there is an issue. The issue is you cannot have or you cannot expect a practical with 30 students or 40 students or 20 students staying in a laboratory and doing one experiment, and they are all doing some experiment and we are teaching them, we are training them to do exactly what is expected to do. But that is we have to actually, what I feel, there is a famous saying, necessity is the mother of invention. That is, so far we never had this problem. Rather, we know there is one mass online education called MOOCs. It has come way back, long back actually. In 1960s, it was introduced. The MOOCs concept was introduced way back in 1960. And today, if you see worldwide, there are so many open learning or open education, open learning courses openly offered. Say, the world's best institution, in the sense when the rankings and all, you must have MIT, Harvard University, half of their courses they are teaching by open learning. They started doing because of the special reasons they have, the special conditions of their students they pose, and with that they necessitated their requirements necessitated the universities to offer such education. And the registering for this MOOCs courses in these institutions is as high as some lakhs of students. One course, the course name is How to Improve My Learning. How to Improve My Learning. For that is offered by Harvard's, and for that more than 5 lakh students have registered throughout throughout the world. That is, they are some of the best institutions in the world, and they have offered most of their courses, some many courses by online system. In India, because of our own problems, probably we never attempted this. But in a way, we should thank COVID for giving us an opportunity to think about these problems. Otherwise, we would have always thought about our own traditional way of facing. For example, uh, my generation, I started my bee farming way back in 1976. So, our way of the mindset, I can never say that a online course can be better than a regular course. No, that is the mindset. But take the current student. That is, I am 50, 60 years old, but the student today, 15, 20 years old student, his mindset is definitely different. And today, there is a necessity to formulate our own guidelines, how best we can offer the skill sets through online mode. Well, this is one issue. Number two, how best we are going to have, even after once we open the course lab colleges, maybe a month later, 2 months later, how are we going to take all these precautions and continue the education? Where can we offer the students in those classrooms which are with a capacity of 50, 40 or something like that, which is already crowded? Can we maintain the principles of social distance? Definitely not. Even the call in the buses, the commuting buses, they are asking that everyone should follow. The WHO guidelines are there to follow social distancing because the effect of the pandemic, COVID pandemic, may end, may not go that easily. It may continue, and every government in the world has come to a conclusion that we have to live with that. How long we will live with that? We don't know. Maybe till we get rid of the problem. How long? Nobody has an answer to this. Maybe a year, maybe more. But as educationists, how are we going to train our students once the lockdown is opened up? Well, everyone has to think about this. Not only teachers, managements, and students, and other supporting staff. Everybody has to be cautious to take up this challenge. Number one. Number two, we should devise ways and means of doing, as I told you, two things. One is practical classes, that is skill set. How do we offer? How do we train the skill set? Number one. Number two is how best the evaluation process that we are going to do it. That is how best we examine them. That is also a system where a thing of importance, because today they are saying multiple type questions and multiple answer type whatever. So in a way, the entire thing has to be totally modified. We should take this as an opportunity for us to improvise our own methods. In a way, some educationists have even offered that. Yes, can we change or can we metamorphose our education system which is suffering from so many drawbacks. Yes, let us do that. Let us do that. This is an opportunity. And all of us, especially the current educational technology concepts, have to be inculcated, have to be developed. For instance, we have seen just one uh, one aspect, for instance, that is called augmented learning process, virtual learning process, augmented reality, augmented processes. All of us may be knowing one concept which is becoming very popular, called learning mathematics by a simplified way, that is in an augmented way. They call it as abacus system. Abacus system is in the schools. Children at early age they start this. That is, although it is not part of any educational syllabus today, but there are so many institutions in each and every town in India that a system called abacus is being taught. What is abacus? How to memorize tables, how to understand, how to memorize certain things, how to understand certain, quickly do mathematics. That is, it is called a method known as, in educational terminology, we call it as augmented learning process. Augmented learning process in the sense, we are training our own learning mechanism, the physiology of learning, the physiology of the uh, remembering and reproducing. That is, you must have remember learning leads to remembering, learning leads to understanding leads to remembering further leads to retrieval, in the sense memorize. Whenever there is a need, you may have to come out with that. So that is reproducing. So this process, there is a link between listening, understanding, memorizing, remembering, and reproducing. So this cycle is hastened in abacus system of mathematics. That is an augmented learning process. And today, internationally, there is a lot of debate going on how best we use this augmented process in every type of education today, whether it is scientific or whether it is practically oriented, technically oriented, wherever. Can we introduce this augmented process? Yes, my answer is yes. Yes, we can certainly do it. Augmented in the sense, at the very early level, understanding made easy, memorizing made easy. That is, you make education as a fun, no more a burden. If we can offer that type of principles in every education process or every educational method, probably we'll come out of this problem very easily. And that is where the opportunity lies. And the COVID has given us this sort of opportunity. If we can pick up and do ourselves little bit into this, our our generations will remember this and will get benefit out of this. So they see the time for the educationists, like each one of us, many of us. I don't mean that only seniors like me or somebody like me. No, it is everyone has to contribute to give ideas about how best we make the education into a learning through fun, learning easy, remembering easy, and doing easy. For that, there are certain platforms coming up. There are so many organizations coming up. That is virtual reality, which was unthinkable maybe a few years ago, but today it is reality. You sit here and you have a three-dimensional, some sort of a viewer system, and you see that there will be shown the virtually how an industry looks like, how you can do a practical through virtual means. This is possible. And of course, it is there. If you just search in a search engine about virtual reality in education, there are so many things. So much of information is there, and that is another but that is not made accessible to every one of us. That's the problem. We didn't get so far a generalized availability of this sort of virtual skills or virtual reality application in our teaching and learning processes. This is the time that we should start working on that. Probably, if not today, if not in very short time, but we'll certainly come out of the solution because we have, and people, as people say, India is a, a hub of wonderful brains. Our technology development is one of the best in the world. That's everybody agree, especially the computerization and skills of using computers. We are definitely made a remarkable progress. And in that sense, take our younger generation. Every one of us, every child, even at just high school entered student also, is able to use these gadgets in a very effective manner. And let us take that as an advantage and start working towards that. Of course, there are certain problems. For example, I have my personal experience. We have 15 students in a particular branch of specialization for which I am taking one branch. Of course, I am taking for 2, 3 branches. That's why 30, 40 students are there. But in one of the 40 students, there are 2 students are complaining that they don't have in their village some facility to get the net access. Yes, it is agreed. They don't know. They are unable to access whenever we are taking some online classes. They are unable to access. This issue is also a serious issue. Even if we are missing one, also, it is not expected. We are not going to leave anyone, which we cannot leave anyone. So that infrastructural facility also one must develop. This is another issue. So one can, I personally look at this as a good opportunity for intervention and innovation in education, which may lead to a better learning experience and better skill sets. If we can do it, better skill sets can be imparted on the children so that they will be ready to take up any professional activity in future with success. So that is a positive note I feel. But of course, whenever a new thing is to be introduced or new thing has to be applied or to be introduced in any system, certainly there are certain advantage, certain drawbacks are there. There are certain issues are there, which, of course, have solutions if we can do it. And it is not a overnight we cannot achieve certain things, but still there is a possibility that we can overcome such things. With this positive note, I think I will pass on to my colleague, Professor Gopal, to take up his thing, and I'll be very happy to take up. I have not touched generally for pharmacy education. It is true for any education, and if a students of pharmacy background would like to ask questions, I'll be anybody, any question, I'll be happy to interact. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vikram, and thank you, Professor Gopal, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views on educational sector strategies and impact on educational sector. Now we would like to call Gopal sir to share your views on educational sector.
Happy evening to one and all. Today is a very important day, especially to the youth of India. The major problem of the youth of India is that they don't have a proper role model. I congratulate this Operant Pharmacy Federation for having brought a role model to the pharmacy students, Professor Raghuram Rao sir, to the students on this auspicious day. So it is a one-to-one dialogue so that many students will be able to take our Professor sir as a role model. And I thank OPF for having organized this beautiful program in an excellent way. Sir has touched many concepts, and one of that, which is very beautiful, is this what I call, in yesteryears we used to have a concept called family doctors, but now sir has introduced a concept called family teacher. So one teacher who teaches the entire family. So this concept was excellent, sir. Thank you very much. And today it is Ramadan. So today is a day where they fast for a very long period of time and then they end their fast today. So in every religion, there is a concept of fasting. Even in Hinduism, it is there. In Christianity, we call it as Lent days. But this concept of fasting was slowly removed by modernization. Because of modernization, we have lost this concept of fasting. And people, if you take in a class of 60, you just ask one question, how many of you fast? So they said, no, we don't fast. But after 2016, when Yoshinori Hoshimi, the Nobel Prize winner for physiology and medicine, when he proved autophagy, then people started realizing the importance of fasting. Till this Nobel Prize was given for autophagy, and in autophagy he proved that by fasting we become healthy and then we increase our longevity. Till that time, the people who were once fasting, who now discontinued fasting, and because of this Nobel Prize, again people started fasting. So this is one cycle. The same cycle we are able to see during this COVID-19. In yesteryears, we had an education system called Gurukula system. So in Gurukula system, there was one guru and many sishyas, disciples. And this Gurukulam was in a forest. It was away from the effect of the environment of a city or a village. So it was in a forest, and we have one guru and many teachers, and all the disciples were learning from this one guru. Now, these students were into a concept of self-learning. They were getting guidance from their guru. This was the concept that we had. Entire India, only this Gurukula system was there. Only when during the period of British, Lord Macaulay introduced the current education system. So in this current education system, everybody is made to learn some fundamental things. And there is an examination pattern. If you take yesteryears, just means some 10 years back, importance was given to infrastructure. You take a college, you see the advertisement. What would be the advertisement? The advertisement is, we have air-conditioned classroom. What would be the other point? We have an air-conditioned bus. We have a beautiful library. So each and every college was advertising and bringing into limelight what their infrastructure. But how many colleges have brought to the limelight the greatness of the teachers, professors that they had? This COVID-19 has made it the other way around. Now the college will have its name only if they have good teachers, professors who can deliver. So this was from yesterday to today. Now in this change, now today we are under the influence of COVID, and this COVID, maybe we think that it is from China, and it is from the same China the examination system has come in. We have one Sui dynasty, and in the Sui dynasty in 605, they introduced the concept of examination system. Before that, In our Gurukula system, the teacher used to evaluate each and every student on his skill acquirement. If he has the requisite skill, he is made to go away from the Gurukulam, or till he acquires the required skill, he is made to live in the Gurukulam. Now, because of Albert Sherman Osborne, the person who introduced the current examination system, we have a different form of learning and a different form of evaluation. Now, what are all the advantages and disadvantages of this system? We will just see. My dear friends, India and Indians, we are totally unique. In Chennai, we have a place called Mahabalipuram. In Mahabalipuram, recently our Honorable Prime Minister and the Premier of China, they both were there in Mahabalipuram. In Mahabalipuram, if you go, you can find many people who are working as guides. They take you around Mahabalipuram and then they show you all that statues. These guides, they speak beautiful English, an English that is flawless. They can speak German, they can speak French, but actually they are uneducated. They have never gone to any school, they have never gone to any colleges, they have never undergone any formal education, but they speak minimum 5 to 6 languages. This is the skill of India. Another one example I can give you. I am from Pondicherry. In Pondicherry, we have French settlements. Nearly 305 families of the French have settled in Pondicherry. Now, the servant maid in these French settlements, they speak beautiful French, flawless French. We have one Alliance Française where I went and learned French for around some 3 months. I have passed level 3. But even after passing level 3, for me it is very difficult to understand and even speak simple words in French. But the servant maid, they are so fluent in French without having undergone any part of education. So this is the skill of India. My dear friends, a few years back, we had a horrible cyclone in Pondicherry, Puducherry. So during the cyclone, many of the ships that were on the shore were turned upside down. After the cyclone, we had put all the ships back to sail in the sea. And I, being the chairman of Indian Red Cross Society Puducherry branch, I was into the project of helping the fishermen getting back their ships and boats. Almost all the boats we serviced and we gave it to the fishermen. But there was one large sized boat that was called Subhash Chandra Bose. That boat, it was capsized upside down, and we tried our level best to put it normal. We tried to service it, but it was not functioning. It was not going off. So we tried with many local engineers. None of them were successful. Then we wrote to the manufacturer. He came and saw he was also not able to figure it out. At the time, we heard a news that one mechanic, ship engine mechanic, was traveling from Madras port to Karaikal port. So we heard that he is not educated, but he is skilled. So we just stopped him and then we said, sir, we have a problem. One ship, it was capsized down because of the cyclone, and after recovery, we tried, all the engineers have tried. None of them have been successful. We learned that you have been a mechanic for a very long period. Can you do something? He said, okay, I will do it. So we took him. He went around the entire ship. In one place, he just stopped. He just opened his box. He took a hammer and then he gave one hit in one part of the engine. And then he said, now you start the engine. We started the engine and it was all right. It started sailing. All the engineers who had tried previously were taken back. Hey, we have done our education in this engineering and we were not able to solve it. An ordinary mechanic who has never gone to any formal education, who has only experience, is able to do it, and that too with only one hit. So we were all very happy. And then we asked him, sir, how much shall we pay you? So he said 10,000. Then that boat owner, he felt a bit hesitant. Sir, he took one hammer and then he gave one blow. For that, charging 10,000 is too much. So, but how do we do it? So, see, we only called him. So after he has made the ship proper, whatever is his demand, we should give it back. That is what is my feeling is. I told him. He said, it's okay, sir, but I feel it is very costly. So why don't you ask him for split up? Like how much is service charge, how much is part, something like that. You ask him for a split up. So maybe he will reduce the fare. So I asked him, sir, can you give me a split up of your charge? He said, okay. He took a paper and then he started writing for hitting with the help of a hammer, 1 rupee, and for knowing where to hit, 999 rupees, 9,999 rupees. This is what he wrote. So everybody was astonished in the way which he presented. That is the skill. So that skill is present in abundance in India. Now, with this skill, the current education system where all of us are made to learn, and when we are learning en masse, so all the students, we call them according to their marks, we put them in various courses, and according to their marks and various quota, general, OBC, MBC, SC, ST, freedom fighter, defense person, sports person, extremely backward Muslim, and then in Pondicherry we have Karaikal quota, Mahe quota, Yanam quota. So all this, they come and join into a particular course. Now in this course, each and everyone will be having a different talent, but all of them are made to learn in a particular fashion, and all of them are evaluated in the same system. So in this system, I am able to observe some different observations. I will give you one. See, we have something called Teachers' Day. In the Teachers' Day, we used to exchange roles. The teachers used to go and sit in the class as students, and the students used to mime as teachers. So during one such miming, I was sitting in the class, and next to me, we had our executive engineer. So ours is a government college where there is a post called executive engineer who takes care of all the maintenance of the building and all. And he's a M.Tech civil engineering. So he was sitting next to me. So one of the student who was miming as teacher, he posed one question to the executive engineer. Sir, I will give you sand, I will give you bricks, I will give you cement, I will give you all the tools that you want. Can you build a wall 3 feet by 3 feet? I'll give you everything that you want. Can you build a wall 3 feet by 3 feet? He's an executive engineer. He's an M.Tech civil engineering. And to the astonishment of everybody, he said, see, if you build a wall, I can say about its quality. I can test its strength. But so far, I have never built a wall 3 feet by 3 feet. So that practical way of construction of a wall, plastering it, that we have not done, and that is not our duty. Then the student asks, sir, you are an engineer, you are an authority in this field, so should you not be comfortable in building a wall? He said, that is not my duty. Maybe that is his answer, but look, where are we proceeding? One of my friend, he is from Karaikudi, Alagappa University. He has done his PhD in pottery, pot making, ceramic engineering. So throughout his PhD, he has been working on how to make a pot. He has done a lot of research. So I asked him a simple question. I will give you clay. I will give you the potter's wheel. Can you make pot? He said no. This is the second observation. The third observation, it was a PhD viva voce, and it was a pharmacognosy research, and a particular candidate has worked on a medicinal properties of one tree. So she has taken the bark, she has taken the leaf, she has taken the flowers, and she has done research, beautiful research, 4 publications in CARE, UGC approved CARE journals. Everything is fine. She defended her thesis excellently, and all of us unanimously awarded her PhD. And after that, she after everything was over, after the viva was over, she invited me for lunch. I said, we have some formalities, we have to fill up some forms, I have to go meet the controller, give it to him, I have to go meet the vice chancellor, thank him, and then come back, I will join you. So we finished all the formalities, and by the time that lunch had started, and there was a garden nearby, and this PhD candidate and her parents were waiting outside the garden to receive me and the guide. And then when we entered, I told her, see, I asked you not to wait, so why are you waiting? He said, no, you are my external examiner, and without guide, how can I take my lunch? Then I just jovially said, see, it is very beautiful to see that the PhD scholar is standing beneath the same tree on which she has done her PhD research and welcoming the external examiner and the guide. So when I said this, immediately she said, huh, is this that tree, sir? Oh, then she called her mother and father and said, father, mother, why don't you take a selfie of me with the tree? So one PhD scholar has done research on a tree, and the tree is available in the same garden, and the candidate is not able to identify the tree. So I asked her, don't you know that this is the tree on which you have done research? She said, no, because I have a collector. He collects the tree and he gives it to me. So I don't go and collect it, and that is not my specialization. So when it is not my specialization, why should I bother about that? So these three incidences, they make us think that are we going on the right path? So we go to various colleges and we conduct some what you call awareness programs, and during this awareness programs, as an ice break session, we give a small experiment. What is that? Is there will be one big vessel, there will be one brick, there will be sand, there will be water, there will be pebbles. Now the job is, we will call the students, and without spilling, you will have to put all this into this big utensil. So there will be one big utensil. So there will be one brick, there will be one handful of pebbles, a handful of sand, and a mug full of water. So without spilling, you will have to put all this into that big vessel. Now what will happen? The students will first pour water. Then he will place the brick. So everything will come out. And then he will not know where to place the pebble. He will not know how to put the soil. So everything will not be able to accommodate into that large vessel, and all of them will be a failure. So this has been observed almost in all colleges. Now we went to some slums. In that slum, there are some slum children. So those children never go to any school. They are into that what you call roadside small jobs. They just polish the shoe. Then they do some menial jobs. So we called those children, and then we gave them the same experiment. To our excitement, 90% of the students did it better. So this is common sense, and Indians are very good in this common sense. Now, because of this COVID, now instead of the spoon feeding classes that we had pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, how was it? It was the classroom. There was defined syllabus. Notes was available. Teacher was available. Teacher was handling the class, theory hour, practical hour, and after every class, surprise test, informed test, sessional examination, model examination, final examination, and in any of the classes, if the student doesn't perform well, he is made to write one assignment, he is made to write one imposition, his parents are called, he is again tutored, and he is conducted special classes, and we take him along. So this was what going on in the pre-COVID session. Now post-COVID, what has happened? Suddenly we are into online sessions. Now online sessions, everybody attend, but how many of them put their heart and soul and attend? Maybe for the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, and then they get a beautiful fragrance from the kitchen. They just leave with the what you call class, and then they go out, they have a small snacks, they come back, suddenly they get a phone call, they again go back, attend the phone call and come back. So how far are they able to distract themselves from the distractions, move away from the distractions, be attentive? So this is a very big question mark. Every day when I am handling these online classes, I give them some small exams, tests, assignments, and I give them a very small brief time, and I ask them to report back. But most of them, 50% of them don't report. So when I ask them, what do you do? They said, sir, today I attended that webinar. So today I attended this online classes. They are attending various classes. Then I told them, see, you are in final year B.Pharm, and probably your examinations will start immediately after the lockdown. So the entire theory portions are being completed during this lockdown period by online classes, and only practical classes you will be having after the lockdown for a very brief period, because we don't have time. So you are in final year. So you should be more cautious to make up your skills, your knowledge, so that you will be able to get placed in a very good company. You will be able to face the campus recruitment drive. Now they said, sir, that's fine, but I need a lot of certificates. So I am attending this, I am attending that. And many of the sessions that they attend are not relevant to pharmacy. That is fine. They wanted to have knowledge, but everything is fine. But at this juncture, the student should be able to find out what is useful to them and what is can be taken at a later time. So that prioritization, that is very important. At this juncture, I remember a small incident that took place in the life of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. During the when you read the entire life history of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, there is a very beautiful incident. So there was that Hooghly River in Calcutta, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was just standing on the Hooghly River giving his prayers. So at the time he saw one man who was walking on the water and coming towards Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So all the disciples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa were excited. Hey, one person is walking on water. What a great thing. So everybody was looking at him, and he was walking straight towards Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did not even bother to look at him. So he said, Swamiji, I am able to walk on water, and you are not even appreciating this great skill that I have acquired. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, if you give 25 paisa, the boatman will take you from that side to this side of river. So for your skill of walking on water, for me, is worth only 25 paisa. That is the fare of the boatman to take from this side to that side of the Ganges. So this is the reply Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave. So in this answer, there is a very great thing that we need to learn. Now the student should know what is most essential to him. So accordingly, he should be in a method to prioritize what are his immediate requirements and what are his requirements for future, and accordingly he should plan his time schedule and make the best use of the available resources. My dear friends, there are two things. One famous soap company, they wanted to come out with an advertisement that can be used at international level. So they called a best advertiser, and then they said, see, we have a soap. This is a very good soap, but we want a simple single slide advertisement. That advertisement should be capable of reaching all over the world. Can you do it? They said, okay, we will do it. So they came out with a simple advertisement: one dirty cloth, one soap, and one clean cloth. So anybody who sees that advertisement, what they will feel? So this is the dirty cloth, this is the soap, and for this dirty cloth, if we put this soap, it will become clean. So this advertisement became meta hit. All over the world, it was very successful. So they gave a lot of money to him, and then they got that advertisement. It was advertised. The soap sales was going on very well all over the world. But in some part of the world, the sales was not there. It was zero. So then they made a meta-analysis. They wanted to find out why the soap was not being sold in those areas. Those areas, they were under that Mughal. They were that Muslim, where they read from the other way around. We read from here, but they read in Arabic this way. So they took it for a clean cloth. If you put this soap, it will become dirty. So they didn't buy the soap. So anything cannot be generalized. Now in the online class, I'm not able to see the student. I am not able to feel his different levels. So my teaching is generalized. In a classroom, I know the last benchers, they need a different type of explanation. The first benchers, they need a different type of teaching. The middle students, they need a different type of teaching. So my teaching can be planned accordingly. But in online, I am not able to deliver it in that fashion. So that is very, 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 very a sensitive issue which we will have to consider. I will speak about the second concept. There is a school, and in that school there is a small what you call baby, and this school is next to my home. So whenever I am free, I just go there. It is a kindergarten school, and when I am with the children, I get what you call lot of stress released. So that is my way of keeping myself youthful. So I go to that school, and in that school there is a very good teacher. So that teacher is very good in mathematics. So she's number one in mathematics. She can teach maths to anybody, and she is very popular in that area. And many of the children who are not able to do well in maths, the parents bring the children to this teacher. See, teacher, you are very good in mathematics. So please, my child is not that good in mathematics. Why don't you put her in track? So she was in that stage. One day, one mother brought one small, what you call, child to the maths teacher, and then they said, she is my daughter. She is very intelligent, but in maths she is very poor. So I learned that you are very good in mathematics. So why don't you teach mathematics to my daughter? So the teacher said, oh, it's very easy. I will teach her. So she called that student, and she said, I am to give you a small exercise. So I will give you now one apple. Okay. Now, how much apples you have? She didn't answer. She gave him another apple. So how many apple you have? So the child did not answer. Then she took back both the apple. And then now he gave, I am giving you one apple. So how many apple you have? The child said, I am having 2 apples. So the teacher became very angry. She said, she took back all the apples. Look, I am having 1 apple. This is another apple. So 1 plus 1, 2 apples. So now I'm going to give you 1 apple, and then another I will give you another apple. So you will be having 2 apples. So like that she explained. She took back the apples, and then she again gave 1 apple on one hand and another apple on another hand, and asked the same question, how many apples do you have? The child said, I am having 3 apples. The teacher was very tensed. She said, see, I have taught you, this is 1 apple, this is another apple, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, I'm giving you 2, and I'm asking you for the last time. I'm giving you 1 apple, I'm giving you another apple. How many apples do you have? The child said, I'm having 3 apples. The teacher became very tense. She wanted to beat him. Then I said, stop, stop, stop. And I asked the child, see, why are you saying this in a wrong fashion? The child said, from my home, my mother has given me 1 apple and I'm keeping it in my bag. Already I have 1 apple. Now the teacher has given 1 apple on this hand, another apple on this hand, and I'm having 1 apple in my bag. So totally I'm having 3 apples. That is what I'm saying. The teacher is not able to understand. So this is an incident which I have witnessed. So the same happens in online teaching. I am teaching it to my level, and I'm anticipating that this level of teaching will reach the student, but because it is not a physical teaching, where I'm not seeing him eye to eye, and where I'm not speaking to him in the fashion in which I'm able to see his facial expressions. So what I feel that I have taught him may not be right at all times. So this is a major problem that I am facing. And for this, we need to have a strategy. Now, in this COVID-19 situation, we are to think about a concept called strategy. So whenever we think about strategy, I think about one great person, that is Napoleon Bonaparte. He is the first person to have introduced the concept of strategy. When he was very young, the first assignment that he was given was to capture a nearby island which was full of pirates. So there were pirates, and the first assignment was to capture that island full of pirates. He was given a ship. He was given 50 sailors, and he was given this assignment. All the sailors were elder to him. All the warriors were elder to him. He was very young, and none of them took him serious. They placed him on a bench. They gave him some sweets. They gave him some fruits, and then they told him, you play. We will go and fight. We will capture all the pirates, and we will give it to you so that you can give it. You can hand over them to the king. So this was what was going on. Now, none of them were very serious. So Napoleon thought, if these warriors and sailors are not serious, then I will not be able to win my war. And this is my first assignment. So I should win it. For that, I should have a strategy. So he framed a strategy. What was that strategy? He had a friend, a faithful friend. So he told that friend, see, now we will be going near that island. When we are near that island, we will anchor the ship. And from the ship, we will get into a small boat. And all the sailors and warriors along with me, we will be going in the boat. When we are going near that island, I will give you one signal. By seeing my signal, you take this petrol or diesel or kerosene, something that is available nearby, and then you pour it around the entire ship, and then you burn the ship and you escape. So that fellow said, see, we are coming in one ship, and if we burn the ship, what will happen? He said, nothing doing. Whatever I say, you do. He agreed. So similarly, the ship reached near that island where the pirates are there, and from the ship in small boats, they were going to the shore. And Napoleon was also going along with that. When they were in the middle of the ship and the shore, Napoleon showed one signal, and his friend who was in the ship, he poured kerosene and he burnt the ship and he escaped. Now, all of them were looking at the ship. The ship was burning, and all the sailors and pirates were saying, oh, our ship is burning, our ship is burning. What do we do? Then Napoleon said, why are you worried? No, if our ship is burnt, how do we go back home? Napoleon said, don't worry. We have come here to catch the pirates. We will fight. We will catch the pirates. The pirates have their own ship. So once we capture the pirates, we will take the ship and then we will go back. Now, for all the sailors and for all the warriors, it was a do or die situation. Either you fight and then you capture them, then you will get their boat or their ship. If you don't fight properly, you will be arrested, you will be killed, you don't have a way to escape, your ship is lost. So it was a do or die situation, and all the warriors, they fought to their might, and then they captured the pirates, and then they captured the pirates' ship, and then in that ship they returned back. So this is called do or die situation, and this is the strategy followed by Napoleon. Now, only if we have the same do or die situation of self-learning post-COVID, we will be able to be successful. So what happens is, during this long lockdown, 60 days of lockdown, so I leisurely get up, I leisurely have my food, I leisurely watch TV, I leisurely watch newspaper, leisurely make phone calls. So life has been slowing down. So in this slowing down phase, if I start to listen to online teaching, then that is not suitable to the current needs. Now we are in dire situation. We are stressed. We wanted to come out. We wanted to come out with a medicine for COVID-19. We wanted to be suitable to boost our immunity to face any other pandemic in future. So in this condition, having wasted 60 days, we are time strained. So we are constrained. So now we have to work as if it is in a do or die situation. So we have to go into a concept of self-learning. We have to be disciplined. We have to do things at a faster pace. We have to do things at a what you call a cutthroat or a do or die situation. So that is the way of learning and teaching that is required for the current situation. That is number one. Number two, I have a small child next to my home, and that child used to come with one diary. So some 3 months back, she brought one diary from the school and showed it to her parents. So the father read the diary. In that it was written, we have taught 1 to 100 to your daughter. That is only a LKG student, and the father was very happy. So his daughter can number 1 to 100. So he took this daughter, placed him on a bench, and then he asked the daughter, can you say 1 to 100? The daughter said, yes, I can say. He said, start. So the child started 1, and then it was silent. He said, come on. Nothing happened. She was always saying 1. She did not even utter 2. So he became very angry. So next day morning, he took his daughter and went directly to the school. He called the teacher. Who is the class teacher? Yesterday in the diary, you have written that my daughter has been taught to say 1 to 100. But when I asked her in the home yesterday, she said only 1. She didn't go to 2. She didn't go to even 3. So what have you taught? He said, no, yesterday your daughter beautifully said 1 to 100. How is that? So he took the daughter, placed it on the bench, and then he said, yesterday I taught you 1 to 100. So now you will take 1 to 100. So 1. The child said 1, and then the teacher said then the child said 2, and then the child said 3, child said 4. So like that the child was able to count 1 to 100. Then the father said, yesterday you didn't count this, you were standing with only 1. The child said, you didn't say you didn't encourage me, so you didn't say that, you didn't give that sound had you said given that sound I would have said 2. So our children, right from the young age till this age, they have been taught to learn only on encouragement. So you need to encourage them at each step. Only if they receive the regular dose of encouragement, they will go ahead. Now, in these online classes, in this online evaluation, I am not able to encourage my students. So this what you call step-by-step encouragement. Sir, excellent. You have done excellent. Your homework today is beautiful. The way in which you have presented your assignment is excellent. So only when I keep encouraging them, they perform better. They have been habituated to do like that right from their school days. Now, suddenly in this online teaching, I am not able to encourage them. So that encouragement is very much required. And the third strategy, it is a very beautiful strategy given by Tenali Rama. So in India, we all listen to the stories of Tenali Rama, and in this Tenali Rama and his king. And so it's a very beautiful story. The king wanted to keep one small competition. He said, I'm going to keep one singing competition. But in the singing competition, the competition is a bit different. You will all have to sing, and there will be one judge. The judge is a buffalo. So if you sing so beautifully, the buffalo should be attracted. So if the buffalo is attracted, the singer who is able to make the buffalo attract and look towards him, he is the winner. So everybody started singing. They were singing very beautifully, but that buffalo there was not at all bothered about anybody's song. So it was last the chance of Tenali Rama. They called Tenali Rama and said, can you win this prize? He said, okay, I will win it. No, but you don't know how to sing. I need not know singing. I need a bit of common sense. What is that common sense? I will show you. But if I win, you should give me the prize. Okay, agreed. So he went just in front of the buffalo, and then he said, nee. This is the sound produced by a housefly. Usually buffaloes are attracted towards housefly. When Tenali Rama produced the sound of a housefly, the buffalo started looking at him. He won and he got the prize. Then he told to everybody, see, this is a buffalo. This is your audience. A buffalo can never appreciate your song. You should give what the buffalo appreciates. The buffalo appreciates only the sound of a housefly. That is why I made the sound of a housefly, and the buffalo was attracted towards my sound, and this is how I won. So this is called tailor-made audience, tailor-made delivery. Now the student will be in different mood. One day he will be in a mood of learning. The other day, physically he will be present here. Mentally he will be present in some other cinema or in drama or in some friends get together. Now I will have to attract him. I will have to speak in a language in which he will listen. So this delivery is very, very important, and this is a real challenge in this online learning. My dear friends, so these and all are some of the strategies which are very much required in this post-COVID-19 education system. So as per the system, we need to constantly encourage. We need to speak in a language which is appreciated by the learners, and we need to do the the problem solving learning. Again, I will end with Napoleon. Napoleon wanted to learn swimming. So the teachers, they took him to a nearby well, and then they said, here you can learn swimming. He said, no, I will not learn here. Then they took him to a nearby river, and then they said, you can learn swimming here. Napoleon said, no, no, I will not learn swimming here. Then they took him to the sea, and then on the shore they said, you can learn swimming here. No, no, I am not going to learn swimming here. Then they asked him, where do you want to learn swimming? He said, you take me to the middle of the ocean. You take me to the places where there are sharks and whales. There you teach me swimming. If I learn swimming in that environment, I can swim anywhere in the world. So that is the place where I want to learn. So that is the greatness of Napoleon. My dear friends, today we have a classroom teaching, a classroom learning, and when we go to practice, when we go to the industry, what we have learned in the classroom cannot be applied as such in the industry. There the requirement is required. That there the requirement is totally different. So what we have learned, by the time we apply it in the industry, it is very difficult. The current learning process is not full of problem solving techniques. And in direct one-to-one teaching learning, when I'm not able to teach you problem solving techniques, in online teaching, emphasizing on problem solving techniques is very, very difficult, but that is the need of the hour. So this is the real challenge. So the problem solving method of learning has to be inculcated to the learners, the students, by the teachers. And this is the need of the hour. So this is one important strategy that will have to be taken into consideration. The last one, if you don't update, you are out of date. My dear friends, we all know about a simple story where there used to be a cap seller. And one day when he was going in a forest, there was a very big tree and lot of monkeys were there on the tree. So he slept on the tree shade, and when he woke up and saw his entire basket full of cap was not there. He looked up, all the monkeys were wearing one cap. So he didn't know what to do. He was wearing one cap. He threw the cap on the floor. All the monkeys threw the cap on the floor. He collected all the caps and then he went back. So this is one story that we have learned. Now there is a version 2.0 for this story. That cap vendor had a son. So he was also into the business of selling caps. After a long time, he entered through the same forest and he started taking rest beneath the same tree in which his father took rest. So he placed the full basket of cap and he went to a deep sleep. He woke up and saw there was not even a single cap in the entire basket. He looked up at the tree. There were full of monkeys. All monkey was wearing one cap. So on seeing that, he thought in his mind, my father has taught me how to handle this situation. So I will take the cap from my head, I will wave it like this and throw it on the ground. All the monkeys will take their cap like this, wave it and throw it on the ground. I will collect all the cap and I will go back. So this is what he thought. He looked at the monkeys, he laughed at them, he took out the cap from his head and then waved it like this and threw it on the ground. All the monkeys were looking at him. They also took their cap, waved it like this and kept it on their armfold. He was very much worried. He said, hey, why are you not throwing it down? Then the monkey said, if your father has taught you the secret of escaping from us, our fathers have taught us how to cheat you. So that is how we have retained our monkeys. So saying, all the monkeys ran away. So this is a simple humorous story, but it has a lot of message to be taken up. That message is, if you don't update, you are out of date. Now, pre-COVID, post-COVID, updation required is very much high. We think that during this lockdown period, there is no updation. No, entirely there is a change. Before, people were concentrating only on modern medicine. Now, if you want to be prophylactic, you have to come to a traditional medicine. Now you are able to understand that we have committed a mistake of not standardizing our traditional systems of medicine formulations. Now it is high time. Only we should be interested in our systems of medicine. Only we should take up this challenge of standardizing our systems of medicine. Then only we can shine. We should work on our strength. We should always make our weakness into our strength. So we should make our strength suitable to our opportunities. So this pre-COVID and post-COVID, the changes are very much high. So pre-COVID, the restaurant business, the tourism business, the drug manufacturing, everything was different. But now it is totally different. The entire world is looking now as India, the pharmacy of the world. So we need to deliver. So we need to be more cautious with respect to our quality, with respect to our innovation. So the strategy here for this teaching learning process, pre-COVID and post-COVID, has to be in lines in which I was just sharing some of my experiences. As I said, Indians have a different type of skill, different type of thinking, different type of discipline. So if we harness this disciplined way of learning of Indians, if we harness the skill that is there in the genes of Indians, and if we are very serious, if we learn as if we are in a do or die situation, then we can convert this COVID-19 pandemic situation to our benefit. We can make it as an opportunity and we will be successful. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and thank you one and all. Thank you to this beautiful organizers for having organized this wonderful program. I'm here to take your questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your strategic view on educational system of India. And now this session is open for everyone. Anyone can ask the questions to our speakers by self unmute. You can also drop your questions in question box. From our side, all the audience are unmuted. Audience can ask your questions. If you have any kind of doubts, you can directly ask to our speakers.
My dear active participants, please ask questions. In English, we have a beautiful word called ask. Ask is an abbreviation. The full form is art of seeking knowledge. So please ask.
If anyone not able to ask from audio system, you can drop your question in question box. So one question arises from Dr. Rakesh Kumar. What will be the impact of COVID-19 on the scope of basic science in comparison to pharma and biotech?
Yeah, basic science. Can you please repeat the question?
So what will be the impact of COVID-19 on scope of basic science in comparison to pharma and biotech?
The impact will be same for everybody. I don't think there will be a difference of impact of the basic sciences as well as pharma education. It will be universal. The effect is universal everywhere. But one important aspect with respect to pharmaceuticals is they being essential for life. You must have noticed all the industries, most industries were closed, but pharmaceutical industry is still open because we are essential. In fact, let me tell you, so many companies, small companies especially, they started manufacturing two things and they became, I don't know, they are very successful. The things are one sanitizer, the other one is vitamin C tablets. Every company was given an opportunity to do that and they were successful. And they will be successful because that has become the order of the day. Well, so the impact will be in general, but pharmaceutical scope is definitely much, much better. Did I answer your question?
I will just supplement to what our professor has beautifully
please.
said. Pharmacy always has an upper edge, but this basic sciences will have to orient themselves to supplement the requirements of pharmacy and biotechnology. So they are our fundamentals, they are our foundation on which we stand. Now, only when our foundations are very strong, we can go to great discoveries, inventions. So if you take the same concept of a hand rub given by WHO or hand sanitizer, we get ample of them. Now, I recently came across a health worker who has been using minimum 25 times this hand sanitizer. He has a different type of rashes. because it is isopropyl alcohol and he has been using it over and again. So he was asking me, you are a pharmacognosy person, can't you come out with a herbal hand sanitizer? I said, I can easily come out, but how will I test its efficacy in this lockdown period? So I need now to network with other people who can test it in their facility if they're having that facility, and then I can come out with a herbal hand sanitizer that is safe to the hand. So like this, there is always research, and for this, these fundamental sciences are very much required, but they need to now orient to the requirements of this applied sciences.
Next question for Dr. Gopal from Dr. Brijesh Kumar. What is the herbal drugs future in case of COVID-19?
It's a very beautiful question. Thank you very much for asking this question. Now, for prophylaxis for COVID or any pandemic, the answer with modern medicine is very minimal. Whereas we have a glorious tradition that is Ayurveda, another glorious tradition that is Siddha, another glorious tradition called naturopathy. So these three systems of medicine in India, Indian systems of medicine, they have a vast wealth of formulations, medicine, which can act as prophylaxis for this type of pandemics. So before entering into this same session, we had a beautiful dialogue with our professor sir, and we were discussing about the Ministry of Ayush recommendations on prophylaxis for COVID-19. So there is a very beautiful app called the Sanjeevani app. You can also download it, and in the Sanjeevani app, they have given clear-cut instructions. Number one, you can take Nilavembu Kudineer. In Sanskrit, it is called as Kal Meg Kashaya. So that you can take it as a prophylaxis. And in Siddha system of medicine, we have Kaba Jora Kudineer. So this Kaba Jora Kudineer is a prophylaxis for COVID-19, which you can take. Apart from that, they recommend taking of Amla, so gooseberry. So this has ample vitamin C. Suppose Amla is not available. See, this is the season of Amla. Wherever you go, you will be able to get Amla. But suppose in case if you're not able to get Amla, there is a beautiful Ayurvedic formulation called Chavanprash. So Chavanprash has 46 ingredients which increase the bioavailability of vitamin C, which makes the vitamin C stable, and it is a beautiful formulation for boosting the immunity at this juncture. Next, they go for those vegetables and fruits that are rich in zinc. So we have a lot of vegetables and fruits that are rich in zinc. So the government, Ministry of Ayush, is asking us to take that. The Ministry of Ayush is asking us to take as garlic, asking us to take onion, asking us to take tulasi, asking us to take ginger. So these are some of the identified herbal drugs that will boost our immunity. Now, post-COVID, these will become superfoods. They will become nutraceuticals. They will become functional foods. So these functional foods will have an excellent market. Now, it is for us to formulate them, to standardize them, to establish quality control, to market them. So the scope of herbal drugs post-COVID is very high. But at this juncture, in our current B.Pharm syllabus, we have shrunk the pharmacognosy part. So botany people, what you call Siddha physicians, Ayurveda physicians, nutritionists, they and all will be entering. Now we have a very good opportunity there. And we are specialized in that. In pharmacognosy, we learned taxonomy, we learned anatomy, we learned powder microscopy, we learned phytochemistry, we learned chemistry of natural products, we learned biotechnology, we learned agricultural science. So everything we learn. So we know that knowledge. So we will have to explore it and take it to our advantage. So the scope of herbal drugs post-COVID-19 is very good. And it is our duty, it is our responsibility to work in that field and come out with successful nutraceuticals, prophylactic, curative, and management medicine from the Indian systems of medicine acceptable to the modern system of medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question for Dr. Gopal from Gopala Priya. Due to overload of assessments, classes, seminars, webinar classes, tests, and exams, some students get mental stress. So how can we get some right from this situation?
Very good. It's a nice question. Congratulations for asking this question. Now, you are at a youthful age. So you are at a student age where you are in the youth period where you have abundant energy. So in this abundant energy, the present stress caused because of COVID-19 is nothing for you. If you consider it as stress, it is stress. If you consider it as if it is overwork, it is overwork. See, I'm having a glass in my hand. So if I keep it with me for 5 minutes, I will have pain. If I keep it with me for 15 minutes, I will have some discomfort. If I keep it for half an hour, I will not be able to move my hand. On the contrary, if I just keep it here, that's all. Now I have nothing. So the moment you consider stress as stress, it is stress. The moment you attitude manage yourself and you consider that it is not stress, it has nothing to do with me. I can easily overcome it. I can win over that situation. If you think like that, it is not a stress. And again, your brain is so what you call efficient, and your energy is so high that these assignments, which you are not accustomed to which you are not accustomed to do in your regular course of study, initially maybe as if it is a huge load, but slowly you will be accustomed to it. You will be practiced to it. You should enjoy doing it. So once you enjoy doing it, you will not have the pain of it. And once you plan properly, once you manage your attitude, once you manage your time, and when you learn it for the joy of learning, then there will be no stress, there will be no load, and you will be doing it out of happiness. So anything you do out of happiness, it is very easy. So we remember a small incident. There was one frontier Gandhi, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So when he was marching during the salt satyagraha, one small child, which was around some 11 years old, was carrying a 3-year-old baby and walking along with him in the satyagraha. So Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he asked him, so see, you are carrying such a big weight. How are you able to walk? The child said, this is not weight, it is my brother. So once you think it is a brother, then there is no weight. Once you think it is weight, then it is not brother. So similarly, when you want to learn, you learn just for the pleasure of learning. See, so far you have not learned so many things on online, so many assignments on online you have not done. Now you have become techno savvy. Now you have become computer savvy. So you have an opportunity to learn. So why do you think that it is overburdened? It is not overburdened, provided you have the interest and the pleasure and the happiness of learning. So with this attitudinal change, this load will be a pleasure load. You will be able to take it easily. All the best.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So next question for you also. What is students what do for concentrate or mind who don't distract in anything? How they concentrate on online classes, because some students are not concentrating on online classes. They are distracting from their families, and so how they can concentrate?
See, concentration is a habit. So you have to cultivate it. In English, there is a beautiful word called habit, H-A-B-I-T. If we remove H, a bit remains. Remove A, bit remains. Remove B, it remains. That is why it is called a habit. Now, this concentration comes only as a habit. Number one, you have to learn pranayama. You go to any yoga teacher, he will teach you pranayama. Here, you concentrate only on your breathing. So this concentration, once you learn, you will concentrate on your studies. And once you learn pranayama, your vital volume will become excellent. Once your vital volume becomes excellent, you can win over corona. At the same time, you can have more concentration. That is number one. Number two, you will have to learn meditation. There is a wrong concept that meditation will have to be learned only at the age of 60. No, meditation can be learned at any time. So now you learn meditation. Meditation is the concept of concentrating on one thing. You focus your energy on one particular aspect. So if you learn meditation and pranayama, you can increase your concentration. That is the easiest way to learn concentration, and it is now very much essential, because the more you are working with computer, you will have distractions. One beautiful lady's figure will come here and it will distract you. There will be one offer that this is there, that is there, that will distract you. Suddenly there will be one pop-up screen. If you just click it, it will go take you to various places. Now you will have to distract yourself from all this, and you will have to come. So for that, concentration is very much required. You have asked a very beautiful question, and this question, the answer, the shortcut is learn pranayama, learn meditation, you will learn concentration. Practice it, you will become a master in this field. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone more available for questions? They can ask directly. Now the session is open for question answers. Thinking, sir, all the audience are satisfied from your views and your experience. You are sharing your wonderful knowledge on impact and strategies for educational system in India. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us and sharing your views. Now we are going to end today's session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this nice opportunity. I thank you for having given me an opportunity of interacting with Professor Raghuram Rao, sir, in this beautiful evening. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for your august presence. And I thank the organizers for this wonderful program. Thanks to the active participants. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, one and all. So nice, sir.